Okay. The 11th is, yeah, it should be around on the 11th.
I can't do the 11th, but you don't need me. I have a board
Okay,
meeting.
well, it's either the 11th or the 24th. That's what we were saying,
I think it's
Victoria.
probably more important for Ethel to be there than it is for me to be there as the chair,
I
so.
don't know about that.
In
Jeez.
general, I cannot do Monday nights, so,
So actually the 11th would be better for you, correct?
yeah.
All right, the
Yeah.
11th it is
Right.
then. Sorry, Victoria. We gotta
That's
be-
okay.
That-
Trust me.
Do you have
Well, you
any,
know, the way they run these council meetings, you may be done with yours before we're even been asked to comment, you know?
yeah, that was actually
Well,
gonna be my,
actually, it'll be very much like the last time where you can either be in person or virtual. And I know a lot of people are doing virtual lately. I mean, I know the Commission on Aging wanted to do their report in person because they had a PowerPoint, but even that you can do. You can give them the PowerPoint if you had one. Which I'm not suggesting in this case, that you do a PowerPoint. I more suggest you put it in the council packet and maybe just hit a few bullet points if you know, during your presentation, and then open it up for their comments. So I think they're just anxious to get it out. So I'm sorry, you haven't even opened the meeting. I'm sorry, Ethel. I
Okay,
like
great. I'm gonna
preempted you
call the
here.
meeting to order. And you all had a chance to look at the approval of minutes and the minutes for approval.
Yep.
Can I have a motion that are there any additions or deletions?
No.
Or corrections to the minutes? If there being none, can I have a motion for approval?
so moved.
Can I have a second? All
Second.
right. Departmental updates, anything different than?
Well, I sent it the last meeting.
Pat,
I sent it the last meeting. The only thing different is they have that we do have our new adult service caseworker has been hired, and it is Sarah Dufresne. So she started on Monday, which is great. Great for two reasons. She's not, it's sad in youth services because she's a phenomenal worker, but wonderful for our adult service. But she also is here and is going to be here to train our, a new person coming in. And I'll be honest with you, now that position is full-time, that is actually easier to recruit for than the adult service worker. So I'm very pleased to have her.
what is youth service going to do without her,
Well, they're going to hire someone new.
I know, but.
But she's still here. She's going to be helping the transition. She's still doing her check-ins at the school until we get our new social work staff hired.
Okay. Okay.
So she hasn't gone away. She's just in a different role. So,
Okay.
What are the
that's-
qualifications you're looking for that position?
which one? So we have two positions open. One's the added position and one's the one that Amani vacated. That's Daniel's old position. Those two positions require an LMSW. We provide the school social work with that position. They do positive youth development. They do crisis work with kids and their families. They're in the schools, they're running mentoring programs. I mean, it's a very varied job, but because they do a component of clinical and they do the school social work, their LMSW is the degree that's required for that. I mean, would love it if they had an LCSW, but that's not required because we don't bill insurance. It's a free service. And as far as the Sarah's position, which is the early childhood educator position, that requires a bachelor's degree in social work, early childhood education or psychology. It's really, they do a number of things. They manage all the grants that we get in the town for school readiness and the child daycare grant, and their liaison to all the early care centers. They also work with all of the families in town. Sarah's been running a depression group, postpartum depression group for young mothers, support groups, so they can do psychoeducational groups. So, and then they're also very involved in the schools and some of the school services like mentoring for younger kids and that kind of stuff. So they're part of the whole youth service staff, which means all of us can slide into anything, including me. I could be working in the kitchen because that's what the need is for the day. It's, all of our whole department is like that. So it's a varied job, but their main responsibilities, are the kids and their families 0 to 7 is kind of that. They're the liaison for MAC. So yeah, so it's a great job. And I'll tell you, those people who are in early childhood education or working in those centers, and that's their interest, the pay is absolutely lousy, and so is the benefits. So are the benefits. This is a great job. If you know anybody that's good, that might like something like that, it's just a great job. And then they get to do a bunch of other stuff, fun stuff too, with volunteers and, community events and planning and that kind of stuff, with youth services, in our department. So if you know anybody.
Is it posted on?
Not yet. It will be posted though. Right now, what's posted are 2 positions for the youth service social worker.
Yeah,
So,
if you forward that to me, there's a couple of people I could pass it on to.
which one or both?
The one that's not posted yet.
I will absolutely forward it to you, and we'll forward it out through MAC, because that's all of the teachers and the directors, and then other people who are very involved in early childhood in the town are on that. I'll send it out through NASW. I'll send it out through the Connecticut Youth Service Bureau. You know what I mean? Sarah will send it out through, there's a group of people who do this for other towns. So I'm very sure we'll get someone good. It's what's hard with youth services is it's just hard to have 3 new people starting. There's some excitement with that, but there's also some challenges with that. So right now we have, Katie, who's been there for quite a while, and we also have Kelly, who's been in that social work position for 3 years. So, we have some support. The other thing is,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
There's also
The other. Go ahead.
sorry. There's also the Connecticut Early Childhood Listserv, and
Yes,
so that's another good place to recruit.
that's the one that Sarah would post with. Yes, she's real connected with that. The other thing that I want you all to know is that my job will be posted, I believe, that by the end of this week. I've been working with the town manager and HR on the what do they call it? The announcement that goes out, which is beyond, the job description and that. So that will be going out. So, I have 3 months left, but they really would like to have a little bit of crossover time, particularly with budget time coming up. So with a new person coming in, so that will go out. And the requirements for that is an LCSW, and not an an LMSW, which I suggested because I'm an LCSW, but I just happen to be an LCSW. My job is not mostly clinical. In fact, it's rarely clinical. It's mostly administration. So LMSW is the introductory license, not the introductory, it's the non-clinical licensure here in Connecticut, but it is required if you're going to do any clinical work, but you have to get supervision with that. So anyway, my suggestion, they were going to narrow the pool just way too much by putting LCSW on it. And it's really not a requirement for this job. It's absolutely not a requirement for this job. It's more of a requirement for the director of youth services who supervises clinical staff. So that should be going out. So I'll send that out to you once it gets finalized too. I'll just send it out to the committee. So if you know anybody, it's a great job,
Yeah,
it's
too, because I have a friend who may know people.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm hoping that it's somebody who has done town service, because it'll be that much easier for them walking in. It's a big jump from the private sector to the municipal sector. But it's not that it's not undoable. It's just, it would be a challenge for someone because everything's different. That's the best way to put it. Any of you who work in the public sector know, you're working in a fishbowl. It's just very different, working with a council and a town manager versus working with a board of directors, which is again its own animal working with. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, it would be nice if there was someone that, works in municipal service, but, we're a very small group, so we'll see.
Okay, well, yeah, send it to us, please.
I will do that.
Okay, so why don't we move on to old business, which we're here for, is the agency ARPA grants, the forms. What do you guys think of the forms? Julia, you said you had some issues or?
No. I mean, I just caught a couple of little tiny things.
Yeah.
I think that she did a great job in capturing our
Yeah.
conversation. So there's just a few things I caught on the second page under section 2.
Yeah,
Number 4 and 5 are duplicative. Plan for implementation is twice, so we can just delete one of those.
okay, why don't we delete number 5, because the 4 says what your proposed solution and plan. Yeah, okay, what do you think? Okay. So, Victoria, you okay with that?
Sure. Yeah.
And what was your other issues?
Down at the bottom, number 4, under financials.
Yeah.
I thought we might want to say, so the second sentence, include categorized expenses, and I think I would just insert the word other sources of revenue, so people understand that what we're asking is, do you have other sources beyond what you're asking for in this proposal? And then just 2 little
Just add up.
typos. Oh, sorry, Ethel.
No, so we'll just, please provide a proposed budget for your proposal to include categories, expenses, and other sources of revenue. Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
And then there were just 2 typos in the next sentence. So it's please list specific amounts. I think it should be requested, not requests.
Oh, requested, okay.
And then I think foundation should be plural, foundations.
Okay,
And everything else looked good to me. I don't know if
Yeah.
the rest of you saw anything.
no, the only question I had, and I forget what page it was on, it had to do with the board of directors of the agency, and I thought we might have been asking for just too much. If I can find it, or I didn't, I looked on the other form, so.
Yeah, I had asked that last time, but I think that was something that Victoria, you had talked about how important that was.
Okay, let me find it.
So I think it's number
I think,
2.
yeah,
Well,
it's a pretty commonly asked question, is a list of your board of directors.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty commonly asked.
oh, okay. All right, no problem then.
And then for municipalities, they list usually their town council or their advisory board.
Right. Okay, then no issue. Okay, so if that looks okay, how about the rating, the funding criteria, the ratings form? Do you have any questions, any issues with any of those, anybody?
Hold
I-
on.
Okay.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, if you want.
Oh,
Whoever
I'm sorry.
wants.
No. I haven't looked at it yet. That's why.
Oh,
I'm-
okay.
You can
I
go
thought you were
ahead.
trying to
I'm
pull it
just
up.
working it out.
Okay.
My apologies.
No
So
problem.
I had a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
Okay,
So in the chart at the top, it says alignment with HSAC RFP priorities, and I thought we could just delete HSAC, because some people may not, they'll be like, wait, what is that? And it's really just how aligned is it with the RFP priorities? Is
yeah, okay,
that okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
Makes sense.
the only thing you could say, align with the ARPA priorities.
Yeah, that would make
But
sense.
you could just say RFP priorities, though. I think that sums it, because this score sheet is really for
it's
those
for us,
people
right?
scoring. It's for those people scoring, but
Right.
it takes away, I mean, if you take that out, the council's not going to get caught on what is HSAC.
Right,
So it may be good to just remove that.
Okay. And at the very top, instead of agency grant funding criteria, it should be ARPA, right?
Yep.
okay,
And then just the numbering, I think we're missing number 2. So the numbering just needs to be adjusted because it goes from 1 to 3 right now.
That's helpful.
I have 2 of mine.
Yeah, because those were manually put in, so I
Yeah.
took one out.
Okay,
So,
so just make 3, 2 and so forth.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I had written in my notes last time for the item that is currently listed as number 4, I had written in offers or enhances a critical service not provided by the town. So I wasn't sure if we wanted to stick with that or just have offers.
yeah, well, and I will tell you that we own, which one, number 4, offers?
Yeah,
Okay. Offers or enhances? Or enhances, yeah, because we had that conversation about even if they do a service that we do, it's more, or it offers to a wider group of people, or. Okay,
We're missing something, though. We have 5 descriptions and 6 criterion.
but
So-
it's the rating, it's on the rating up above, how you score them. So see how you have 1
Oh, see
through
where the
5
rating
there?
description is, though, right? We have 5 different things that we're rating, and there's 6 criterion that we're rating. So the one that's missing is the quality of proposed plan, which is
oh,
number 5.
But that's what I did that too, but I'm like, oh, that must be the rating scores instead, but you're right, it's not. So we're missing the quality of proposed plan.
Yep, and then the last one becomes number 6.
Right,
Right.
And one thing I would suggest, because this is always helpful to me, is that we put the priorities right on this rating sheet.
Yep.
So that they're
Absolutely.
right there and we can refer to them when we're going through that.
good idea.
Great. Now, do you want anything, how would you like to describe the quality of I mean, I think it speaks for itself, but do you think there needs to be any more information about quality of plan? Is it thorough? I mean, like what
I don't think you really need to.
clarity and thoroughness of the plan? I mean, is it
No, I-
obtainable? I think we can have that discussion. But
It would seem to me if they're applying for a grant, they're gonna hopefully provide the clarity of what they're doing. You know what I mean? And if they don't, then
Right.
if they don't, then
Well,
maybe
yeah,
bother
mean,
if they can't do that.
Well, and I guess, I'm so used to looking at, very specific ways for to do funding, and you're going to have to show how you're going to, what are your outcomes and how you're going to measure those outcomes. And,
Okay.
I mean, but I don't know that we want to get that much into that. I mean, a lot of plans require you do a particular model, you know what I mean? And then you use that when you evaluate the plan. And you do follow-up, but I don't think are we going to be asking people for follow-up? We haven't
I
in the
don't know.
past.
I don't know. I think to your point, Pat, that we should be, we have to rate it. So we all need to be on the same page of what it is that we're
Right.
rating with respect to quality. And I think that, like, are all of the questions answered within, within the request, and
Are
the
all of
thoughtfulness of the answer. Well, this is not the right language that you want to
Right.
use. I'm just, we want to
you
ensure
can
that
say-
it's a thoughtful request that's been put together. If they're looking for something like for capital improvements, to make sure that they've like done the research to see what these improvements are going to really cost. Not, oh, I think I need a new elevator. That's probably going to be about $100,000. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
I expect they're all going to be pretty high quality, but I'm just trying to get us on the same page.
Oh, you've seen some of the proposals.
Well, maybe you're
You've
right.
seen
Maybe we
some of the
should-
ones that have come in,
Yeah,
especially for some of the nonprofits that are more volunteer than they are
Well, that's true.
that
That's
paid
true.
staff. So, yeah. So,
I mean,
which doesn't mean
honestly-
necessarily that they don't have a good idea. It may be they just don't have a level of sophistication in pulling it together. So, but
We want to know that what they're proposing, they can actually pull off, right?
Right.
right,
That's
right, that's it. Do they have the capacity
The
to actually,
capacity, yeah.
accomplish?
so we should add that to that. And that would be with,
And how will they measure? I mean, I don't know, like I said, do we want to say, how will they measure their success, or I don't know if we want to do that. I mean, if you're installing an elevator, the elevator's in, but, and it's being used, but, service quality. I mean, capital's a little easier, like either you have it or you don't. I mean, it's like we purchased the van, or we,
So I guess you're right. Is there something in place that measures the success of the project?
right.
Well, we don't ask for that in the RFP. So if we're going to evaluate them on that, we have to add it to
You
the
have to
RFP.
ask for it. That's true.
And not only do you have to, you can, how will you tell it's success? We are not asking for a follow-up report either. I mean,
Right.
unless the town council has asked us to do that.
I mean,
And I'm not sure they want to do that. I think they just
Right.
want to give out the money, I'll be honest with you,
Right.
to reputable projects, reputable and worthy projects, but.
so we do ask in the RFP the problem they're trying to solve and then their plan for doing so. So in this,
Right.
in this criteria, we could be asking, to what extent does it appear that their plan will solve the proposed project, and is it achievable? On a,
Do you want to send me that language, Julia? Because that was really good.
okay,
I hope you can do that, because what happens to me when people say that to me, it's like, no, I can't, and I probably can't even repeat what I just said.
I'll try typing it in the chat.
Because that sums it up, unless you're going to ask them for a report at the end of, were they successful? I'm not sure.
Does the town council want a,
Not that I've heard. They've never asked for them in the past with any of your
Yeah.
funding, that. But
And-
maybe they will ask for that. I'm really feeling they just want to get the funding out to the
Yeah.
agencies.
Yeah.
That seems to be more,
and who
more
would,
what they're looking for.
who would determine if it was successful? The agency that gets the money? You
Well,
know?
some, like, for example, some of those grants that we get every year, Ethel, from DCF and our RAC, they just ask for a summary, like,
Okay.
it's just really a summary statement, and it's usually how many people did you actually serve, or, You know what I mean? Did you have any problems that you didn't expect, and how did you, was it successful or wasn't it successful? It's kind of that, very simple. But unless we're actually going to do something with that, I'm not sure that it's something we're going to ask for. It might be something to ask the council. You know, are you going to want some kind of a report on the project? They may say yes, but I don't really think they do. I'll be honest with you. That's what I'm saying. They have a lot of money that they're dealing with this, and
Okay.
Feel free to
that
work.
is, and that would be a good question for the council. You know, does this meet their goal? You know, does this meet what they were looking for? And are they looking for any type of follow-up? We could ask for a brief report that we could, and they might like, you know, a brief like paragraph with each grantee, what was accomplished, to have to say, look what we did with this money. But I'm not sure we all want to spend time coming up with a format for a grant report either. Particularly when some of the amounts will probably be small.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I don't know if you can see that, Pat, but I came up with some language and put it in the chat.
Okay.
Please feel
All
free
right,
to
and you know what
wordsmith it, everyone.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy it and paste it on my stuff. Thank
You
you.
know,
Yeah.
you know what the town council might like, this is something we do with the foundation that I work with in Hartford, is we ask for pictures and a brief summary, and that way, if the town council wanted to promote what they've done with the ARPA funds on their website, they might
Right.
be able to use some of those photos and, you know, like show, hey, look at, this is what we did with our money. It's a really good thing for social media type things. But apart from that, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to read reports, and it's not like they're
Right,
going to.
well, that's why I'm saying if they could get a very brief paragraph on what happened, you know, what each. And that I can ask in the letter, you know, the expectation would be at the finish of the, you know, whatever they do, to just get back to the town and tell them what they did.
Email a paragraph and a picture.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Yeah, under the rating description number 1,
Yeah.
it still has the old language from the agency grant funding criteria.
Oh, yes,
So I think it needs to be changed to be, to what extent does the mission of this no, it's not even the mission of
No,
this
to what-
organization.
right.
The-
To what extent does the project fit the ARPA, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The ARPA
Support the
priorities, that's
goals.
really what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Kathy, did you get the language in the chat? I was trying to cut and paste it, but it won't do it for me. Okay,
Yeah.
she got it. Good, thank you. You're the best.
And then I had one more thing under number 4. Right now it says a rating of 5 indicates that this agency operates with great efficiency. And I think we need to change that to be about their proposed budget. And so I think it should be more like a rating of 5 indicates that the budget is very reasonable and well researched.
Okay. Okay,
While a 1 indicates that, and then change the rest of it to be, I don't know, there are significant concerns in the proposed budget or something to that effect.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Victoria, you got anything else?
No, I think that you guys have done a great job.
No, everybody did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for providing the basis to start with, Victoria. That was really
My pleasure.
helpful.
Good.
And I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to work with this than our past application, and maybe something to think about with as we look at agency granting too, you know,
Oh,
making
yeah.
some
Yeah.
provisions that will, you know, make it easier for the agencies as well as the people who are going to be taking a look at those applications
Right.
to review. So
Okay, so you'll make the corrections, Pat, at your end and send
yeah,
us.
well, in all honesty, Kathy will.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
She's the
We
best.
appreciate
I'd like to take credit for it, but I really can't.
Okay. So Kathy will make the corrections for us and send it back to us.
And hopefully at one point Kathy will actually get a camera so you'll be able to see her.
Yeah.
So everybody will be able to meet her.
Should buy one with those ARPA funds you've got, folks.
Yeah.
Come on.
Write a grant, we'll give it to you. Okay, that's great. So we're all set with this. So, and we'll present it to the town council on the 10th, I guess.
Right. And the next meeting is December. I think I sent that out.
Yeah, you
It's
did.
on the agenda. And I would suggest at that meeting, you really talk about the dates for the next year and the times, and you know, how often you want to meet.
Right.
And also if you feel like you need to recruit some new members, you know, and where you'd like to recruit them from.
Will you be at that meeting, Pat?
I will be. That will be my last meeting.
Okay,
So-
great.
And I'm hoping at that point, you know, the new person will either have started, or will be able to, at least I'll be able to introduce you, you know, even if it's, you know, virtually. So you'll get a chance to meet with that person. As I've said to everyone, it's not like I'm going away. I mean, I live 10 minutes from here, so I'll be around, and I, you know, have a vested interest in things successfully happening. You know, we've all done a lot of work through the years to, you know, make this agency function well and be what it's been and be able to serve people as well as it has. And we've got a vested interest in that continuing on. So hopefully they'll get a good person. So new blood is a good thing, actually.
So with that in mind, you want to meet virtually or in person, folks?
Totally up to you. I know virtual tends to be easier for people, but it's totally up to you.
I
So
don't know.
can
I
either
think it's your
Here
last
at the town
meeting.
hall.
If possible, it would be nice to shoot for an in-person meeting.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
We can
That's
certainly
my
meet here at the
sense.
senior center. I can always guarantee a space over here unless you really want to meet at the town hall. We can
No.
work it out there as well. So
At that meeting, will we be reviewing proposals, or is that's no?
no, I think you're going to have to set specific meetings for proposal review. So I
Could
think
we
if
come
we
up with a
get it out at
deadline?
the end of October, I think weren't we hoping to get them in by January 1st? Wasn't that the hope?
Okay.
If we can get the packages out by then. The other thing you didn't discuss, and I think we talked about, was it between $5,000 and $25,000
Mhm.
Yep.
per project?
Yep.
And one of the other things that if people are like, you know how Victoria, you were talking about being a fiduciary for another nonprofit that doesn't have infrastructure to be their own fiduciary. So you might want to say something about if there are very small nonprofit entities that have to go under an umbrella because they don't have capacity to do what's necessary for that. you wouldn't want to limit, so you wouldn't want Wayne to only be able to, if they're a fiduciary for the, what was the group you,
The
talking
quiet
about.
corner refugee.
refugee, like you wouldn't want Wayne not to be able to apply for
Right.
something if something was being applied for the refugee. So, and I think we would need to clarify that, because I wouldn't want people saying, oh, well, you know, Wayne's getting $25,000 and then this other group and another program is getting 10 from Wayne. So why couldn't, you know, Access do that, or why couldn't? So I think we need to be clear.
So does that go into the proposal? I mean, does that go into the?
I think that might be something that we want to discuss with the council, that there will be some smaller nonprofits that use a larger entity as a fiduciary. I mean, we had to do it, quite frankly, for our Grosting grant that we had when I first came. So we had to have an outside fiduciary because the town couldn't be the fiduciary. If that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
just to be clear, Pat, I'm dense on these things. So it's something that we need to bring up at the next town meeting. Is that something you're gonna bring up, or it's something that they can
I think
respond
it
to
would
if
be
it's part
something
of the
we would just-
application?
I think we might be able to, we might want to think about, I mean, I think we should talk about it in the town council, but I will probably put it in the letter.
Okay. good.
Like that I will, you know, the one we talked about that I would include with the application, and I will put that into the packet with the council too.
Okay, that's the,
Okay. good.
Right, and so that's what it's called, right? Another organization that gets under the umbrella so that someone provides the fiduciary services. for them.
exactly, because they're short on, or they may be waiting for their 501c3 or.
Sometimes if they don't have
it.
capacity, like United Way does it for some very small organizations at
Mhm.
times as well. So there are a number, particularly if they're all volunteer or they're,
Right.
you know what I mean, as
Mhm.
well, so,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
okay.
Kitty
I have
back.
one other question before we close up. You want us to be thinking about new members. What's our membership status at
Yeah.
this point?
We have 5 members now.
We have 5, okay, and
Right.
capacity, but there are
We can go up
slots
to
that still need
9.
to be filled, right?
So I think what we had said, correct, Ethel, that we would attempt to attract from different areas.
Yeah.
But we generalized it a little bit more, so it didn't tie you into like, I can't find a disabled person or a disabled advocate, or I can't find someone from housing, or you know what I mean? We didn't want to not be able to function, or if there was a good member out there that maybe met a couple
Right.
that, you know what I mean, they'd have to fit in a specific spot. So
We talked
so
about.
I think they'd be pretty open to someone if we felt they were appropriate, because we have a couple of at-large positions that are open.
Yeah, we went to-
Lorraine and Ron Baker were at-large, so.
but we want to be able to have people who are committed to our goals.
Correct,
And our
right.
values, you know. so-
And that will show up.
And we-
Because the bigger it gets, the harder it can get to perform when people get busy, or some people just
Right.
never show.
yeah,
So we don't want to be in that position.
and we couldn't keep people from certain areas either.
Right.
We
That
tried and.
we've had a
never-
real challenge with someone from the disabled community. I'll be honest with you. We just can't get someone on, or they might say they will be willing to be on it and then never show to a meeting. So if you know anyone who's either disabled, a caregiver, a disabled person, or an advocate, you know, works for an advocacy agency or as an advocate in some way for disability rights, or, you know, a select area.
Sure.
That would be really good, especially since we're the ADA complaint. You know, the place they go before they go beyond the town, where I can't think of the name of it. We're basically the ADA committee for the town,
Okay.
where we hear any ADA complaints.
We only heard one complaint all the time.
I know, and it wasn't really a complaint that
No.
would have come to us, so.
Okay,
Yes.
Do you know where on the agenda we will be at the town council meeting? I'm just thinking the last one, it was 2 hours before we were done, and I'm just
Right.
trying to plan my life.
Right.
Yes.
So here's the thing, which is why virtual is perfect. And if I remember right, they got stuck on the minutes or reports or something.
Yeah.
It was like they weren't even on what I would call the real agenda. So because if they've heard it before, it'll be old business. And sometimes they did bump up the Commission on Aging. Even though they were new business, they bumped them up because they didn't want them to, well, they were there in the audience, I guess. But I can again put a bug in somebody's ear that maybe it would be good to bump us up if it's a long agenda. I'm hoping it's the short agenda. So, because we definitely want to get in before budget starts and some of the other stuff start, because that's, you know, it's just, you can be there endlessly once that starts. So, and I'd like to get these out before I leave. I mean, that's my other thing, you know, kind of one less thing on the agenda for the new person coming in when they start. So, yeah, so it's great that we'll be there on the 11th, and I think we can get them out before the end of the month, and I think we can ask for the return. Do you feel like January 1st is a good time, or do you feel like that's too long to have them out?
Well, I don't think it
Usually
does us any
we-
good to get them in the middle of December, because
No,
that's not
because
how
then
I
you've
want
got to try to figure out, well, and not only that, but this office is crazy busy in the middle of just, you know what I
right.
mean? From mid-November through, actually the last week of December is quiet, but up until that, we're just crazy busy. So,
Yeah,
I think that's the truth for a lot of I certainly that's the
I
case
know.
for Wayne, and even with a January 1st deadline, I'll look at this in November and
right,
I'll still be, you know, 5 minutes
Right.
to 5 before I get it in on January 1st. So, yeah.
yeah, and that's most people. I always laugh because, you know, sometimes you need that deadline. You know how it is. It's got to be right at the top of the pile there. Because so much else is going on, and sometimes I can't write unless I have like the deadline there.
Yeah, me too.
In best case scenario, I do it early, but yeah, people walk in like 5 minutes of 4 and hand them in. It's kind of interesting.
I would even suggest a January 15th deadline as opposed to a January. I just think January 1st with the holidays right there, people,
Yeah,
it just gets
Oh,
crazy.
I
It just
agree.
gets crazy.
I totally agree with you. And it's not like we have the pressure of, you know, the budget, like we have had in the past.
Right.
So, you know, the money's there. So we can even, if there's extra money, go out for a second round after, you know what I mean? If there's money left over, which there could be, if people don't hear about it or whatever, go out with a second round after that. So.
That 2 weeks of breathing space would really mean a lot to organizations like ours.
Right. Anybody who, and then, you know, you have holiday vacations and all of that
Right,
too. And
exactly.
depending on who has to sign it or get the information together. So
January 15th then is the cutoff?
Sounds good
January
to me.
15th.
Awesome, great.
Okay, so back to December meeting, in person or virtual?
So I guess it depends on what we're going to do. I think when it comes time to reviewing the proposals for that meeting, I think it would be helpful to be in person.
Okay,
Yeah.
But if the agenda is kind of minor, then it's a lot easier for me to just join from work. And then when we're done, I'm still at work and I can
Right.
keep working.
Right. Right.
virtual it is
And-
then.
Yeah, and again, the agenda won't be real heavy, I don't think.
No.
I mean, hopefully we'll have some new staff on board and I'll be able to introduce the new person and you can decide on your dates for the next year and,
That's it, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, so look, Kathy will get this out to us fairly soon.
She will.
Okay. And Julie, you'll be virtually, you'll be at the council meeting on the 11th, right?
Yeah, unless you think being there in person will get us done sooner.
I mean,
There
I'll go-
are no guarantees. I would love to say they are, that's the truth, but there are no guarantees,
Okay.
particularly if they spend 45 minutes on the minutes.
Yeah,
You
okay,
know,
I'd
it
rather jump
sometimes
than-
happens.
Unless we just sat
Just
there
saying.
July or something.
It's made my day that I can go in virtually. I'll be honest with you, to spend 4 hours, sometimes not even get called up, but
Yeah.
just being just in case in the audience.
I went there once
So.
for a tree situation of all things. And I was there for hours for 2 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, virtual, I think might work better for that.
Yeah.
Or I'd be like, oh no, the Board of Ed is on before me and it's a building discussion. I'm gonna
Boy.
be here forever.
Okay. And we got to fill in Shameen too, so.
Yeah, but she'll get all the things. And like I said, I just know she's just,
Yeah.
this year is
Oh,
a year.
no kidding. We're
I gotta tell you, bless them all. I mean, it's just been, I've been hearing from the parents too. I'm sure some of you, all kinds of discussion.
Yep,
with
it's
kids
definitely
riding the
affected our
bus,
family.
2 hours. I don't even know when they're gonna actually get home. I hope they solve this by winter, because I don't want to be standing out for an hour waiting for my son to get off the bus.
Is that
Yeah.
bad, huh?
Oh, yeah.
People wait, I have somebody who works second shift that has to get their child, to get them to the childcare, to,
Oh,
you know what I mean? So they can get to work, but
Right.
can't count on when they're getting home. And I've had, the opposite, where people take either their dinner break or whatever, and they take their child off the bus, you know what I mean? And then just sometimes people finding out the bus isn't coming, and it's just.
And finding
it's-
out really late, like sometimes
Yes.
2 hours after it was supposed to be.
Really?
there. I mean,
Ugh,
Yes,
it's
yes.
horrible, horrible.
How are the
yes,
kids handling
yes.
it?
So.
mine
and-
are older, so.
How are the kids handling it, the situation? The students? Of those you that have kids in the system.
Yeah, I'm talking to more of the parents. I mean,
Okay.
it probably would be better. I mean, Sarah Dufresne is dealing with it because she's got a high schooler and a kindergartner. And, so she's dealing with it on either end,
Yeah.
and to have a kindergartner ride the bus for a very, very long, or be standing outside waiting. And then the staff, every staff member over there is on bus duty. They just have to be. It's incredible. So I'm hoping, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but I'm hoping that the school is open, the new school is open, because I think that'll alleviate a lot of the problems if they can open that up for, after the holidays.
I was just over that way. It doesn't look like it's going to be ready.
I can tell you that they're doing, they're going to start working 7 days a week.
Okay.
Wow.
So through the weekend, to just really give it an all-out push to get it done, but
When do they
yeah.
want it done by?
they wanted, their original hope was that it would be done so that they could move, have the move happen during the, the holiday break, so that the kids could go back in, for after the winter holidays. But with all of the problems with construction everywhere, it's not just here, I mean,
Right.
but yeah, it's a challenge. I
My
feel for the
building-
parents. I can't imagine what it would be like if I was a working parent, or even a non-working parent, not knowing. And like you said, you get last minute notice. Oh, this bus is canceled.
Right. I am so happy my kid is not in school anymore. I gotta tell you, it's like you can feel the weight off of your shoulders once they're more self-sufficient, and it's just, I don't know how we do it for as long as we do it.
I know,
Crazy.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And
So-
yeah, many of us worked the whole time our kids were,
So Julia, we're in your corner there. We hope it's all gonna work out okay.
No, it's a lot easier for me because my kids aren't small anymore. I really feel for parents with, very young children. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Not knowing where your kid is. When they're that
Or-
small, it's terrible,
or
even
having
though,
a-
you know,
having
you
a-
can assume that they're on a bus somewhere, but you know, I don't know.
Well, having a kindergartner that rides the bus and it takes 5 minutes, they're right around the school corner from the school for one way, but because the way they do with siblings now, but on the return trip, they have to stop at that other school. So they have to go to the other school and then come back. So then maybe that child's on the bus for an hour on the way home. You know, so that's, you know, I mean, they're really doing the best they can. They're trying to work out those problems. They're trying to send the other buses to help as soon as they can, but it's, I am so glad I don't work for the school system right now. This is like everybody's nightmare, you know,
Right.
but
All
anyway,
right, I'm gonna move to
Okay.
adjourn this meeting
Yes.
because I gotta get back to work.
So everybody look at the corrections, the revised forms that Kathy will be doing, and then, you know, we'll email back and forth rather than meet, and then we'll do the
Yeah.
10th. Julia and I will be there. And
at
perhaps
the 11th,
Jean, yeah,
Thank
and
you.
we'll do virtual,
right.
okay? 'Cause
Okay,
I
great.
don't hang around there for hours either, you know? It's bad enough hanging around at home when you could get on, you know, but.
Well, and then you can turn off your picture and you can mute yourself. And so then you
Yeah.
can, you know, as long as your microphone's off, you can make your own little comments about what's happening as well.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we have a motion for adjournment. Julia, would you like to second it?
I'll second it.
All right, everybody, have a good week.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Take
too.
care.
Bye.
Thank you.